So, Amelia, I used to be cool. I used to be so cool. I had a walk-up apartment in New York with a hot pink raspberry kitchen that I painted. And my boyfriend at the time hated it because I made him paint it with me. And the whole time he's like, are you sure? Are you sure this is the color? I mean, really, are you sure? And yes, I used to be cool. And it's so sad. But the fun thing is that I still have really cool friends. So we are going to talk to one of my super cool friends today who knows me from the days of my hot pink kitchen and my studio apartment walk up, like neighborhood next to El Barrio in New York. And her name is Samantha Jones. She is an amazing actress. She's a comedian. She is an improv artist. She's been a director. She's done a little bit of everything. And the thing that's so fun about my conversations with her are how our lives have changed as we have matured and moved through our careers and what that's done for her as an actress. So we are going to bring her in to talk about all the cool things she's done. She's recently done some really cool things on national TV, like FBI's Most Wanted, Bull. The favorite thing that I think she's doing, she was a character on Red Dead Redemption.
Ooh.
I know. Super fun. So let me introduce my darling, darling friend, Samantha Jones. Are you live with us?
Yes. I'm like, ooh.
Ma'am, I used to be cool. What?
No, you're still cool, believe me. That has not changed.
Oh my gosh. Remember the hot pink kitchen?
Yes.
Remember?
I kind of want to see pictures.
Oh my God.
I might have some somewhere. But that was the iPhone.
Yeah. Was that like, I'm trying to think. Was that a trundle bed? What did you have in there? I remember it was cozy and lots of like comforters, and we'd watch TV and order Chinese food.
God, I know, right? And they'd have to come up all those steps.
I know. Who cares?
And that was also before cell phones, technically, because I remember I'd have to go down the stairs and across to the payphone when my power or my phone lines would go out because we had wired phones.
Yeah, that's right. You had like a home phone number.
You had an actual hard line. And so when the wind was bad, because I was in, it's New York City and I'm broke. So I had like ghetto apartment, like slumlord. So the wires were crazy. And so occasionally, and my buzzer would be out, the little buzzer down at the door. So I couldn't respond. So I'd have to run down all my steps. I should have been like a size 2, but I never was. Running up and down the steps. And you had that amazing apartment on the West Side that your family had forever. So amazing.
I was still living there.
Oh yeah.
And then I moved to Brooklyn at some point. But yes, my family, I grew up in one of those Woody Allen kind of sprawling 4-bedroom apartments that are rent stabilized. My mother's still there.
I know.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we had a great growing up. It's like living in a house that's all on one floor, but it's an apartment with a doorman. And it was not as fancy in the 70s, I will tell you.
No, it wasn't
fancy.
Oh, but it's so crazy and kooky when you think about, and I remember when I first met you, we talked about like that city that you grew up in a city and I grew up in a suburb, and that difference was so wild to me. And now you live out in the country.
That's right.
And you have adapted quite nicely, yes?
Yes, I love it. I love the peace and quiet, but I think maybe it has something to do with my age because I moved here in my 40s.
Right.
Maybe in my 20s, I'd be going crazy. I don't really know.
Maybe, but love, right?
Love does it. That's what brought me here. So I got that going on.
Yeah, there's that. She starts putting on her glasses.
Put on my glasses.
Yep. Oh my gosh. So Sam, we always talk about beauty. And when I was using the story to tell somebody when I was in my 20s and there would be like a big club opening or something really amazing happening in the city, or you'd have something you had to go to as an actress, an audition, whatever. You're always obsessed with what you were wearing and how you looked, and you never had the money to buy the clothes that you wanted to wear to the thing. And then all of a sudden there's this tipping point when you kind of don't care anymore.
Right.
it kind of doesn't matter. You're working out because you want to be healthy, not because you want to be a size 2. You're just, like I got invited to a club opening a few years back. And I remember we got there and it was like that Liza Minnelli thing where like the crowd parted because they recognized my friend and we all went in, and I could have shown up in my pajamas. I cared that little. And yet like in my 20s, I would have been like, oh my God.
Oh, it's like an all day thing.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, obviously I haven't done that in a while because of the pandemic.
COVID, yeah.
But it would be like an all day thing. We'd like go out to like get coffee before we started getting ready. And then you talk about your outfit for like 2 weeks ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God, those are the days.
Can you, I mean, I can't even.
I miss it.
Do you?
Yes. Anywhere.
Well, you did just have that lovely Valentine's Day.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
I know, because you had to stay in.
I had to stay in.
Yeah, that doesn't really count.
Right.
So with your acting like now versus then, what differences do you see in yourself? Like, and how do you have that feeling now? Like you're more comfortable in your skin?
Oh my God. I feel like I have to be so myself to get any work now. Whereas before, I think when I was younger, I was trying to be something they wanted or what I perceived they wanted. Now it's like the more me I feel, like I always wear my hair the same. I always like have these clothes, and I'm just like completely really being myself. And if I book it, great. And if I don't, I'm like, that's fine. It's just different, it's just really different. It's like calmed down, and I was even talking about headshots with someone, with my agent the other day, about maybe getting new headshots. And Kathleen, my God, the concept of getting a headshot, and let me have 40 outfits I'm going to wear. And, let me get a hairstylist and all this stuff. And, she was like, well, you can look at these different photographers and see what you think. I'm like, does it matter? Isn't it a camera? They're really just like what's inside of me, like that I'm just gonna. I mean, isn't it just this?
Right.
I mean, really? As opposed to,
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, when we sat down the first time in the studio, Amelia immediately knew what side was her best side.
Oh yeah.
Now that we've been doing this, I've decided we both have our best side on the same side. So
great.
Over the side of
did you sacrifice your side, or did she?
I sacrificed my side because that's who I am. Because I'm more comfortable.
You're older. You don't care.
I don't care. I'm a mess. So whatever. This is what they're gonna see, and
I love it. I know. Yeah, I think this is my. Wait, what do I do for headshots? I think I do this. I think that's my good side.
That's your good side.
I know.
Supposedly it's your more open eye, whichever one is more open, because you have your mean eye that's little and small, and you have your big eye that's so friendly and open.
Yes.
Rob is dying in the booth. Rob is dying. It's true.
No, but
see, Sam knows.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is the eye I see out of. So that's right. This one, I don't see anything. So this is just like, hello. Is my I think it is. That's attractive.
So, oh my gosh. So the other thing that was horrifying to me, we were talking a while ago when you did Red Dead, and I was obsessed with Red Dead.
Right. Oh my God.
She came into the store and was giving me recaps of what happened in her character.
Well, I fell in love with Arthur. He
Every
was my character, but I did fall in love with Arthur.
Oh my God. I know. I'm still playing it. I'm playing it again.
I know. I want to play it again too. And I'm so geeky, but I fell in love with Arthur. And even though I'm playing Arthur, I fell in love with Arthur. And
he's so handsome.
Oh, he is. And he was so charming because, I played him honorably.
Me too, of course. Sometimes I murder people just for fun, but usually not.
Generally speaking, I was a good outlaw, not a bad outlaw. And you did, what's so funny is you did that character, and I didn't even know it was you, but there was something about that character that like sparked for me. And then when I found out it was you, I was like, that's why I knew that.
I know. And I think, that it's probably the funniest female character in that game. Right?
You say something really funny.
I'm like, well, these Hottentots.
Hottentots.
Women. you know, Hottentots, because we're in like this nude art gallery and I'm horrified and, well, what do you think about this? And like very boisterous. And I hit a man with my purse and beat him up and walk out. And my husband's name is like Horrence. I'm like, come on, Horrence. Like it's like very big. And most of the characters, the women are very gaunt and they're whores or they're, you know, I'm not gaunt.
Not gaunt. We've also talked about this whole idea of high def. So now people have to wear green suits and bounce around virtually naked to get a picture of themselves. But then there's also the whole high def thing, which we have talked about on a couple of previous pod shows. But what has that done to you when you're on camera? It's got to be a lot.
It is. Well, it's, you know, I mean, it's really just, you see everything now. And the makeup, you don't need that much. I've done shows where they hardly put any makeup on me. And you remember back in the day, it used to be like full cake makeup and all this stuff they would put on you. But it's like, no, we just want to see your beads of sweat and all your stuff on your face, your shadows, your bagged out eyes, you know. So that's what.
And what is it for? Like, I mean, obviously some of the younger women who are like the heroine ingenue types. Ooh, my phone is ringing. I didn't silence it. And I'm sure it's a junk call. But what is that? I mean, I can't even imagine, like, as a character actress, it's one thing because you get to lean into all that, right?
Yes. That's, I think, the key. I don't know what women our age do who are playing the woman, you know, the main woman who everyone sleeps with. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's like to be that. I don't know what it's like to be a Julia Roberts or, you know,
Kidman or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine, I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they do. I guess they have a lot of plastic surgery and things they have to keep up. But I think it's probably less so, right? Because those women still have careers in their 50s and 60s.
Yes.
So we're not hiding that they're older.
No. But I do think like there's a pressure there, right? Like to look or be a certain way that I think would be really awful and really hard because when I first started like doing a lot of Instagram for the business, I would do, you know, there's all this stuff with lips right now. So you'd put on the lipstick or whatever. And I'd try and do something with my lips. And I have like Irish girl white lips. Like I don't have big lips. Like, what are you kidding me? And I kept thinking, why do my lips not look like everybody else's lips when I'd go on Instagram? Well, now I know why. They all have stuff.
They all have filler, filler and more.
Yeah. Wait, that's like injecting stuff in your lips?
Yeah. And that's why my lips don't look like their lips. And it's a very challenging self-realization. Right.
Yeah. I wonder if I feel like we're moving away from needing to look younger. And now there's more of a, but what do you have going on? And how do we accentuate that with makeup if you want to wear makeup? How do you moisturize your skin? I mean, that was like my biggest lesson was just put on moisturizer. You know, it's like it's dry after 50, you know?
Oh my gosh, right? And like for Amelia, so for her, she has friends who are already getting Botox, which is because their whole philosophy is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you get injections now and you get like a little bit of Botox and you do all the little things now, you won't have to deal with like what we're dealing with. Age spots, sunspots, all the sun damage.
And it's crazy to me. Like I don't know. It just freaks me out. The idea of me, like we're babies and you're putting needles in your face. So when you're 50, you don't look 50. Like, why do you care?
Why wouldn't you want to look 50?
Exactly. I don't know.
You know, that's what I think. I feel like I've lived this life that was not particularly easy. And it's like, it would be ridiculous for me to look in the mirror and look like you. You know what I mean? I feel like it looks like I've done nothing with my life. You know, I like looking a little beat up.
Well, let's just be clear. You don't look beat up.
But you know what I mean? A little. I do know what you mean. Not 20. I don't look 20.
Right. And that was on one of our podcasts, we were talking about that. There's this quote from Audrey Hepburn that I love. And it's that beauty is reflected in your soul, not, just, in your face. And I think that's what radiates from women that I think are iconic, because if you look back, Sophia Loren, Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, all these women, they were stunning. I mean, Katharine Hepburn. I mean, they were all really stunning. I mean, granted, they were stunning when they were young, so they had good bones. I mean, no beef about that. They were beautiful younger, they were beautiful older, so there is that element. But I mean, they looked beautiful. And I don't think you thought, oh, well, they look beautiful for their age. No, they just were beautiful women. Because
right. Like when I look at Katharine Hepburn older, I think, oh, she had a lot of fun.
Yeah, right?
Right? Because she was like probably a big outdoors garden person and a lot of sun, a lot of all that stuff. But every movie she did, she was running around outdoors. I mean, so that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's an appealing thing. And do you feel like, I don't know, Amelia, do you feel like we're heading back to that? Do you think?
I think in a way we are. I think like my generation and then like the generation that's younger than me, I think we're super accepting of all the weird flaws and like quirks our bodies have. And I don't think in a way we're like as self-conscious.
Yeah, that is true. You guys put yourselves, I mean, the way they put themselves out there now versus how, like, I was so modest.
And I think with like age, the whole like body positivity movement and like just normalizing normal bodies and normal skin. And now like you go on Instagram, and I feel like when Instagram first started, or even within the last few years, you wouldn't see people with like posting like a full selfie with like their acne scars and their cellulite. But now you go on there and that's almost all you see is people like embracing the ugly parts of their body. And I say ugly in quotes.
Right. No, that's the air quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it'll eventually like kind of drift away to a certain extent. I mean, I always think there'll be people who want,
that perfection
and plastic surgery and injectables, which there's nothing wrong with if that's what you truly want. But I think it's ultimately going to become like less of a trend.
Right. Well, and I think, so I'd like to say, Sam, your eyebrows look very on point today.
Oh my God. I tried so hard. This is not
good.
Well,
this arch.
This hair is like an eyebrow. And then this one goes, like the hair is weird. So it's not like going in the right direction. So it's hard to do.
But you can't tell.
Okay,
I can't tell. No, there's no telling on that.
Okay, good.
That's why on my glasses I have big frames. That way I don't have to like do makeup on me.
Right.
It just hides all of me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we like obviously eyebrows are a big thing, and we talked about eyebrows because you were saying like it gets harder because you start to lose some of your. Like I've lost a little bit of my tail. I don't know. I'm trying to look in the mirror.
They're blonde, so you don't even know what you're tracing.
Right.
And then does that make it easier because then you can just kind of like do whatever you want.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
As long as people don't get too close, and then they see the rest of my eyebrows.
Well, now with social distancing, they shouldn't be getting that.
That's right. Get away from my eyebrows.
Get away from my. Yeah, my eyebrows are on point, and I believe it.
Exactly.
Look it on Zoom. That's all that matters.
Right. Exactly.
So is this where you do all your like
my auditioning
and stuff?
Yes, this is it.
That's the magic. That's where the magic happens.
That's where the magic happens. Yeah, and I have 2 different kinds of lighting I can use, and
you have different backdrops that you can use.
This flips around green, but
okay.
I just use blue usually. It's very.
If you used green, you could put all sorts of things behind you.
That's right.
Superimpose.
Like eyebrows.
Eyebrows behind you.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, so tell us a little bit more about like what's been going on in the acting world these days with like, I feel like writers and written shows aren't as I mean, are they coming back? I feel like we've gotten so far away from really well. I mean, first of all, I should actually say, in The Marvelous Miss Maisel, if you could have been Jane Lynch's character in that,
oh my God,
I totally see you as
I
her.
would have loved anything Jane Lynch ever does. Yes,
She's so brilliant, right? And wouldn't you have loved to have been that woman, like that character?
Yeah. Oh God, Jane Lynch, she's too much.
I mean,
she
she's
is.
so great. And I feel like there are some shows coming back that are well written.
Mhm.
I actually did a blog about The Marvelous Miss Maisel, about just like that whole idea of beauty. I loved how she got dressed in the morning and how she did all her stuff. And
Yes.
bits were so about like her mood and her presentation, right?
Yes.
I love that.
Actually, it's very you, Kathleen. Like when you talk about your cool days, I sort of like you're kind of like that.
Was I?
Yes, you were always well put together and seem to have your,
It was an illusion.
Sure.
Like Madge, I was falling apart on the inside.
Exactly right. I know.
I just didn't have 2 kids I had to deal with. Although somehow those 2 kids don't factor real
Right.
hard.
She's off doing stand up every night till 2 a.m, no problem. Her mother will take care of them, and the mother looks fabulous.
Oh, I know. I love that whole show. So that's one of the shows that's out there that's so well written right now. Is there other stuff that you see? Do you feel like we're getting back to some really good crafted shows these days?
I don't know. I feel like, well, then we get into the conversation about what are we watching? What are we watching during COVID? And I wouldn't know that I'm necessarily seeking out good writing, for myself. Watching a lot of, crap. But it's just whatever kind of you're in the mood for. But I found that first of all, there's a lot of interesting content coming out. Projects. And also there's even more of a demand for good writing and good content and variety because we're all watching so much more TV than we were, right?
Right. Yeah. And so do you feel like as an actress on the more mature side as opposed to on the ingenue side of it, do you feel like you're getting more work now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think it has to do with that you're more comfortable in your own skin? Do you think it has to do with just what do you think? Because, there was always that theory that as you got older, there was less work.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
No, not for me. It's not. I think, I was always told I was a character actress from the age of 12 onward, which wasn't so great for most of my life. So everyone said, once you hit 40, Sam, you're going to hit your stride. And they were right, and I think it's because age is working for me. And I think I'm more relatable. I think that I am much more comfortable I think my confidence level at this age is much better than it was in my 20s, even though I thought I was confident. Now I'm really confident. So it really helps, just to be okay with myself and okay with, just the process of being an artist, not feeling so desperate.
So how do you think you got there?
Well, a lot of it had to do with getting out of the city, being in nature and not living in such an expensive place. And somehow the timing of all of that worked, with technology so that I could audition from home. I could have a studio from home. I had representation that was working with me being out of the city, longevity, kind of I feel like my whole life has been building to this moment in terms of my career, in terms of my skill and my confidence. And also just, I'm real comfortable being characters that are, hardworking women or moms or, bosses or lawyers, people who are the boss. I am more a boss kind of person at this age than I was in my 20s. And I think I'm better suited for those kinds of roles.
Well, and your resume backs it up because when you're 25 to 35 and you walk into an audition for that boss role, you're up against 35 to 45-year-old women who have double the resume. So yeah, I mean, Now you're that woman walking into the room with the resume to back it up.
That's right. The resume and also just the life experience, right?
Yeah.
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 How can you play someone really convincingly who struggles if you haven't really struggled? You know, and I think we all, by the time we get to this age, we've all been through it. We've been through something. And we're willing to admit it. I think
that's true. We are willing
right,
to admit it.
Willing to go, that was really hard, and I got through that, you know, whereas I feel like in my 20s, I was like, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. This is all fine, you know.
Yeah.
And then you get to this age, like, oh, okay.
That is true. So do you feel, I mean, I don't know, Amelia, how are, like, you know, here we have the other end of the spectrum, right? In Amelia. So like confidence wise, I mean, because I feel like you're pretty confident. Amelia's very confident.
I'm
I think
really
in
good
many
at
ways.
faking it, I think.
Now we get the cat out of the bag.
It's really nice. It's actually like a nice compliment to hear that. Like I take that as a compliment that somebody thinks I'm confident, because there's definitely days where I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it's because generationally you guys have always been in front of a camera on some level. Like we were just talking, my apartment, like I have to dig out like pictures.
Yeah, like photo books.
Like, yeah, like I would have to dig through old pictures. I don't have just like, I can't just pick up my phone, scroll through my phone, and find old pictures. I have to actually go
into albums.
Yes, to albums or to a box.
Your storage unit and find.
Oh my gosh, the storage unit. That's like a whole other thing to literally unpack. But I think you guys have, or at least in my mind, a certain confidence that I never had at that age, because I would always be like, the picture, and there'd be time and you had to set it up, right? Like we had cameras where we set up a picture. Whereas now it's just snapping all the time.
It's snapping. You can take like 60 pictures in 1 second, like, which is crazy. And also like we have Facetune and Photoshop and all of these different apps that can edit your colors, your like background, your hair, like. So I think part of it is like actual like confidence, and other half of it is just like editing.
Yeah. So, well, and we got the editing from the headshot guy, right?
Yeah.
He'd go in with a pen and add a twinkle to your eye, literally. Like he would be going in
and charge you plenty for it.
And charge you handsomely.
And now all of it's free. Like, and it takes 0.2 seconds.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. And
that is.
And now I feel like I'm 100 years old.
You feel? Oh, I know. Isn't that weird? Well, I mean, so much has changed,
and it's so last century, like literally last century, because we're all talking. Like we had to have a really good artist take our negatives, make a print, add the detail, reprint it. So that it had like a twinkle.
Oh my God, Kathleen, you should have brought your old headshots.
Oh, I want to see those. I've never seen them.
Oh yeah,
like
hubba.
And I was so not confident about myself at all ever, because I grew up with all these waspy girls who had straight hair. They weren't curvy, most of them, or at least to my eye. Like I remember I developed earlier. And so I always felt kind of big. I felt outspoken. I didn't feel like New York was awesome because everyone's outspoken in New York. So I could feel small in New York.
I think like something that's like really helped me is like allowing and monitoring who I let myself follow on social media. I think that really helps my like self-confidence, because I follow a lot of like influencers who are like, what do they call it? Like mid-size. So it's not plus size women, because I feel like I'm in between. I'm not like a size 6, but I'm also like not plus size. Like I'm a weird, like kind of chubby.
A normal size? A normal size?
That's essentially what it is. It's like a normal woman. So it'll be like, they call them mid-size. And I always love it because like I follow like, I don't know, probably like 20 of these women. And it's nice because it's like I can actually see what clothing will really look on like my average body.
And my normal sized body.
Yeah, I really
like. Isn't that
crazy. That's crazy to me.
But I think it
is
makes me feel
crazy.
so much more confident because I see these women and they look beautiful. So it's like I look like them. So I can't like, I can't like pinch at my stomach, even though I like, you do.
Right.
Because everyone looks like that on my social media.
Yeah, it's true. But I always felt too tall. Like, Sam, you were tall. You are tall. So like think about like in the acting world back in the day, being tall was like,
Oh my God. I remember when I was young, when I was like 15 auditioning for things that, like Winona Ryder was auditioning for. She's like this. And I was always giant, always 5'8" most of my life. And then I went to college and I was 5'9". And, I always felt giant. Like I could probably only be cast as someone's best friend on those old shows.
Right.
In the old world of casting, I would have been kind of like the awkward best friend.
Yeah.
That would have been my role.
Or the mouthy best friend or the know-it-all best friend. Like it was always like that was the best friend. You were the like mouthy, know-it-all-y.
Right. And not petite and little and,
Yeah, those little girls. Like it is true. And it's so funny because height played into it. But in New York, you could feel small because New York was so big.
Yeah. And you did theater in New York.
Yeah. So being tall.
Improv.
Did someone just deliver water to you?
Yes, right. To my assistant. Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Carol. She stays in this room with my Peloton bike.
It's on your treadmill.
That's right. She keeps it warm.
Because it looked like somebody handed that bottle.
Right. I have it a little high. Oh, thanks.
You totally could do that and people would believe
And it matches my background.
It does. So you could look like you were like, because it's just, I don't know if I can make it happen. Be like,
right, yes, you can. Yeah. See? It's magic. It's
magic, man. Oh my gosh. It's awesome. So how has your confidence as an actress now played into your day-to-day life? Like, how do you find that confidence does it flow from your day-to-day life into your acting or vice versa?
That's interesting. You mean confidence from being working?
Either way. Like, that kind of beauty, the idea of like being beautiful and confident in yourself and in your own skin. How does that like bleed? Does it bleed into your acting or does that confidence from your acting bleed into your personal life or does it kind of go both ways?
That's an interesting question. Well, I'd say it probably bleeds both ways, but honestly, I think it's just being confident in my life and confident in what I think, confident who I am. I have to say, I've been teaching improv for like 20 plus years, and that gives you a certain level of intuition that helps you. Well, I like to help people just kind of get over themselves and play again. And the same goes for me, like I sort of feel like at some point something dropped into place and I was suddenly okay with myself, and more relaxed about how I was going about things. And it sort of continues the older I get. It's like suddenly I'm not worried about stuff I used to be worried about. And also I'm more direct with myself, like Sam, you're gonna do your bike every day, and that's just what's gonna happen now, as opposed to like, well, I don't feel like it, or I'm gonna do this instead, none of that. It's just like, I can talk to myself better,
right?
Like tell myself to do things better, and also take joy in not doing anything, which I notoriously was a workaholic my whole life. And if I ever had a moment of quiet, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. Mm-hmm. So like, not that I meditate every day, but at least I have a life where I could, if I was going to meditate.
Try to meditate every day.
Yeah, right. I have a space to meditate. And even if I'm just doing nothing and I ask my stepdaughter to run upstairs and get my glasses, I don't feel guilty about it anymore. And I would have before. You know what I mean? Just sort of like settling into just like, and then that that whole growing up maturity process definitely feeds into all of my characters.
Interesting.
Because I even had an audition last night, right? So I was doing something and most of it was me listening. That was the audition, right? I had a couple lines, but I'm listening to somebody talking and I'm like whatever they're saying, I think is stupid. So I'm listening and I'm comfortable with this, my chin. I'm comfortable with my skin and how I look. And also I'm good at looking like there's someone there. So I do a lot of that. Like, look at that guy. Can you believe it?
You mean like Carol, your assistant?
Yeah, right. Like Carol, my assistant. Yeah, right. So I can do a lot of just letting someone look at me as an actor and not have to be acting. Yeah, just be me. And like, I don't know, it's just like a whole new world to be able to be that and just be looked at. Like I didn't even put I got the audition and I just did it as I was. I didn't even go touch up any makeup or anything. I just turned the lights on, did it, And so I don't know if that really answers your question, but it is feeding. I'm booking more because I'm like that.
Right. So I was going to ask you if you had like a routine that you did or like, I don't know, something to like hype you up before like an audition, but like you literally just turn the lights on and you go.
Yeah. I turn the lights on. I get my technology straight. I run it a few times. I have to make sure it's in my body. Like if I'm saying lines, like I had a, thing the other day where I was being a lawyer and I'm like, may I approach the bench and lines like that. And, I could very easily just say those and be not convincing. So I have to say them. I have to get them in my mouth and my body the way I would say it. So sometimes I have to just kind of like move around and say them a bunch of times and say it and say it and say it and say it until it drops into my body. And then I do it. Then I'll tape it. But the process is short.
Right. No, that makes sense. And that is kind of the being comfortable with people looking at you is like, that is a thing, man. That is a place to get to.
Yeah. Just letting people look at you and see you and see the evidence of your living.
I love that though.
That sounds horrible.
Right? But that's what I meant about being a little beat up and kind of from life,
Ophelia, that sounds
no, horrible. It sounds very beautiful, but like
for yourself, see? It's your age.
Not there yet.
No, you're not there yet. You're not. Can you imagine just being like, okay, and not having to go like this?
Right?
Right? Which is what
I still kind of do. Yeah, I for sure still do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like so done with that. And so that's kind of delicious.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, but what's so funny is you would take a picture in, I don't know, your bra and underwear. And you can
I'm fine with that.
What?
I'm fine with taking like a bathing suit picture and like putting that on social media. But even when it comes to like, okay, so on Valentine's Day, my boyfriend was trying to make like a lot of eye contact over dinner. And at a certain point, I was just like, okay.
You're like, don't look at me.
Yeah, I can't do it. Because I don't know, it's like intimate and it's weird when people look at you. Like to me, that's intimate and I just am not there.
It is hard. I always had trouble with the eye contact thing in acting because, actors are so unrealistically eye contact-y.
Yes.
Because we're all supposed to stare like very hard at each other.
I couldn't.
And you're like this far apart, right?
Right. And you have to get to, this is the thing that I find the hardest to adjust to. When I'm doing these like one-day roles on a show where I come in, I don't know anybody. I don't know the crew. I'm instantly surrounded with 45 technical people and a director I've literally met just this second. We talk about what I'm going to do for maybe 10 seconds and then we shoot. And then we do a different angle and I'm done and I leave. So there's no settling in and you have to figure out how to get intimate fast with whoever it is that you're acting with.
I feel like I would just crack up. Like I would just laugh the entire time just because I was uncomfortable.
Well, that's normal. That's you being a normal person. But it's like, but then if they're, you're trying to have a career being an actor, you gotta somehow get there. Like I'll tell this story. There's this scene that we're doing, talking, and we're very physically close to each other. And when they did my angle, we had to get even closer because there was a bar in the way of the camera. So they were like, we shoot on this side or we shoot on this side. So the choice was my arm goes near him or my arm goes closer to myself. And he's holding my arm, right? So he goes, okay, so it's close to me or we're going to go to her. And he was this close to my face. We both had masks on, right? And I said to him, and I was like, this is either going to go great or it's not. And literally, we had just met. I said, and then we kiss. And he laughed so hard. And I laughed so hard. And then he took my head and he was like, and we both had our masks on. And it was so funny because it was so technically awkward and we didn't even know each other and we're doing this scene. But it was great. I mean, from that moment on, we loosened up and it was great, shooting the scene. But really, it's that quick. I don't even know this man, and we're just, but I just had this instinct that he'd be all right with that. I mean, he could have been offended, So, I mean, he couldn't see my face, my expression. I'm like, and then,
right.
I'm really,
you can only see this.
Yeah, right. This woman, right? Exactly.
Oh my God, that he just met. So see, like you can take a picture in a bathing suit, but you can't have somebody look you in the eye.
Right.
I know that's the stuff that's just crazy. And I had trouble. Again, it gets into that confidence thing. And that's what's so fascinating as you've progressed as an actress and how you've found that availability, that intimate availability with yourself, that comfort with yourself that I think we're all seeking. Mm-hmm. We all want it.
Yeah.
And I think we all search for it in different ways. The beauty industry is full of women searching for it, through fillers and highlighter and contouring and their face is merely a suggestion and they're going to take everything and beat it into a position. Right.
Yeah.
And then, there's the other side where it's just like, well, I'm just not going to wear. My sister was that way. She hardly ever wore makeup.
Mm-hmm.
She was stunning and she just rolled around in a men's pair of Levi's and, no makeup. And I was like, man, if only, right? Because my armor was my red lipstick and my.
Yeah. Well, I think the trick is just you being okay with that. And once you're okay with that, that's considered sexy, right? That's
right.
Considered hot, that you're just so just yourself.
Yeah. And that is what is appealing to people, I think, when they see you just being yourself. It is what's appealing and it is really cool. And it is something to look forward to because you do kind of get there at some point, right?
You do. It does drop into place. But I do think, you do have to go through some stuff.
Yeah.
Because then you feel proud of yourself. You feel accomplished that you've gotten to that point,
Yeah, that you've overcome, that you've done, you've made it.
Right. That's why it's important to live. Live. And also do scary stuff, not stop that.
Which it goes to your improv classes for sure. Cause that is for some people, so she's throwing people into, have you ever done improv, Amelia?
I've done it twice.
So
and it's terrifying. I would never do it ever again.
Right. Well, what I would recommend to you is all these things that scare you so much, do them. And eventually you won't be scared of anything anymore.
It is true. And she's silent over there. But
I know.
I'm I don't know.
But it's true, right? I mean,
it is
really,
true.
You're scared to look in your boyfriend's sultry eyes. I mean, just take his face and look in his eyes. Make him be embarrassed.
Oh my gosh, that is, or lean in and be like, kiss me.
Right. And then we kiss.
We kiss. Write your own monologue, Amelia.
I could never.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. Well, I want to throw in here that London Beauty is the title sponsor of
the Beauty Underground, and we are from London Beauty, but we are the Beauty Underground. London Beauty is a cruelty-free, non-toxic, clean beauty store, but also a non-judgmental, wonderful place to explore beauty. Located in Brighton, Michigan, also online at
LondonBeautyOnline.com.
Yeah, online. You got to add the online part. And we love to mention promo codes that we embed in our podcast. So our first few podcasts we have embedded, it's podcast 15, right? Podcast 15 gets you 15% off anything you buy when you're shopping at London Beauty online. You mention it in the store, you got it. You mention it, you use it online, and it will get you that 15%. So come and hang out or get online and find the podcasts and find some really cool new stuff to use. I know, Sam, we had fun finding things for you.
Oh, so fun. Oh my gosh.
Are you using everything?
I'm using everything, yes. And I have brushes.
I have brushes.
Brushes, which I've always been like a just smear it on your face kind of girl.
Yeah.
But Kathleen has taught me that brushes actually help you make it go in the places you want it to go. And that is in fact true.
They can be useful.
They can. Although hands are fine too. I've done many a look just using my fingers, but brushes are definitely a necessary.
Yeah, particularly for like, any sort of concealer or powder or, as we know, my wonderful experience with powder where I look like a kabuki performer. It's I'm good at, with the brush, you can really put it where you want to have it.
So that you don't get that like flashback and that really white look. Which we were talking to a makeup artist the other day, and she was talking about like she, as a makeup artist, there was this moment in time when the transition happened to high def that she said, you would see these girls on the red carpet, you would see these women in shows and their faces looked kabuki, like they just looked so white because everyone hadn't figured out you couldn't use the old stuff with the new technology.
Yeah, right.
Because it looked crazy. But then that goes to that confidence thing. You have to peel back that layer. Because people can see, which I don't know, maybe I'm going off the rails with this, but I do think that's part of the reason why some of the fillers and Botox and all that stuff on camera has been fading a bit, because I do think it's becoming visible.
Yes.
Right?
It's very visible.
So visible in how like people move their face too.
Oh yeah. Particularly on things like Instagram, where you'll have like a celebrity do a quick Instagram. If they're not in full makeup, you can see the work they've done in their face.
Which I think the celebrities are realizing, because there have been a lot that have come out lately saying they've removed,
they've dissolved the filler.
Dissolved it, removed it, stopped doing it because they think they saw themselves. And I think that's this high def world of getting comfortable in your own skin. And it certainly is a journey, man. I'm still struggling with it because it's.
Oh, yeah. We all do. We all do.
I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wait, huh?
Right. Whoa, what happened here? Yeah.
Like, what is that? Or like, you notice things on your body, or you notice things are different. And I just started watching another Amy Sherman Palladino show, or maybe it isn't. Maybe it's Darren Star. Anyhow, it's Younger.
Yes, I've watched that whole thing.
I haven't watched all of it yet, but I was laughing because I thought, you get to a certain age where you're like, because she's getting ready to go on the date, and she's like, you've got to look at my naked body. Like, what does it look like? Because she's going to go on the date with a 26-year-old. And it's true. Like, you look at yourself and you're like, oh, no, that wasn't there before. Why is that? What happened to my past? Or how did that happen? And when did that happen? So I don't keep full length mirrors in my house. I don't.
Oh, yeah. I have a full length mirror here in this gym when I'm working out.
No.
That's not great, but I keep it real, I guess.
That's not great.
I do not have one in my house. So there are many times where I'm like, I'm not sure how I look from the waist down. So everything is like either neck up or waist up.
and I have to climb. I'm that person doing like the weird thing to climb up to see the lower half.
Yeah. See, I also live with another girl who's my age too, and we're a little obsessed with ourselves as most young girls, I feel like. So we have mirrors everywhere. But I make myself like look at myself, and especially if I put on a cute outfit, I like push out my belly and see what I would look like with like a little food baby, just to like see myself from all angles. But I feel like that helps me be more confident because like I already know what I'm going to look like. Like, so after I eat a big meal, I already know I'm going to look kind of chubby and maybe look like I'm pregnant because I just ate good. So like I make myself see myself in the most unflattering angles.
So you like do it ahead of time. You prepare yourself. I see.
And then like later after dinner or after wherever I can't go in the bathroom and be like, oh, because I already know. Like I already knew what I was going to look like.
Well, that's good. Maybe I should just scrunch my face up even more.
Oh my gosh.
For myself for 90.
Well, there's an ad. Oh my God, Poo-crastination. It's an ad about like not having to clean the litter box. And there's this older woman sitting on the couch and there's this cat giving her side eye about cleaning the litter box. And then she goes into a yoga pose and her hands are over her head and you're looking at her from underneath. So her whole face is squished. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do that. Like, I feel like that's where I'm headed. Like this squished up little pug face. So
yeah. But you know what? I think the more real we get, the more that won't be shocking anymore.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
The more that will be mainstream. That will be, ooh, look at her lines on her face and she's lived a good life. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I figure I'm the opposite philosophy. If I don't look in the mirror,
it's not true.
Mirrors at the restaurant or like from here up too. So I don't have to see my bottom half in the restaurant either.
No,
it's like not stepping on the scale.
Yeah, for sure. Although now I am having to step on the scale every day because I told you that I know it's awful. And so I always whinge and whine that I'm like, really 2 ounces up, 2 ounces down, grr. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's the accountability, man. Well, I feel like we're hitting our little time limit. But I've had so much fun and I love that you've been my friend for
I know. I love it too. I love that we knew ourselves back then and I still feel like we're the same.
I know, right? It does feel that way. And it's funny because you will have friends in your life, right, that you've had forever and you can't believe it when you get there and look back and you think, oh my gosh. But to have somebody who has that institutional knowledge of you or that like historic knowledge of you who can remember like crazy pink kitchen or that really bad decision or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, we met doing extra work on a film, didn't we?
Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh my gosh. And we were sitting there and weren't we playing like parlor games waiting? Like
we were waiting forever. And then after that,
that's right.
we became friends. And then shortly after that, you worked at the Jekyll and Hyde Club.
Right. Which back in the day, the Jekyll and Hyde Club, it was a theme restaurant.
I remember you telling me stories.
Yeah. With these crazy, like characters mounted on the wall. So it was like the Explorers Club in Disney, which doesn't exist anymore either because that was part of that adult Disney area that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, what is it? Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. That's all gone. Now it's basically a big shopping mall. Like that
that's too bad.
A shopping mall. So it was meant to be like that. And so that was the restaurant. And then we were the stars. Yes.
We were the entertainment. We improvised for 8 hours a day.
Which was insane.
How do you like constantly come up with?
We were characters, and then we would be on the floor as our characters, whatever we were. But then also half the shift was up in a control booth where we controlled puppets and interacted with the people who were coming to the restaurant, like skeletons and busts and people jumping out of coffins and things like that. We did all the voices, and there were cameras.
It was wild. And we actually, I mean, in all honesty, did it because we enjoyed torturing each other.
We got to a lot of shenanigans.
We got to a lot of shenanigans, and there are some super off-air, inappropriate stories. To to say the very least. But there was a lot of like goofing. Like I would be in the booth and Sam would be on the floor. And so I would get on the animal and I would make up some curse that she had to get out of. And that would mean she had to go run over here and do something and then go over there and do something and then come back and tell me that she'd done these things like to break the curse. And then I'd be like, it didn't work. You have to do this.
You do it again.
Right. So we really did. It was pure enjoyment. Like
you played a gypsy a lot, right?
I was gypsy most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was president of the Black Widow Society. So I would try to get husbands to murder or help women murder their husbands.
Yeah. And I would tell these fake tarot card readings that were super fake. I just would make stuff up with these crazy weird cards that I had that weren't really tarot cards so that people would not believe me at all. Oh my God.
Where somebody thought you were like a real like reader. Okay.
No one ever believed that I was actually reading. I don't think. Maybe.
Like what they hoped you were, I'm sure.
They're still living your life by your reading.
Maybe all their decisions based off of this crazy. I don't even remember what my name was, but remember we got paid.
You were Tatiana.
Cash. Oh, was I Tatiana? And we got paid in cash in an envelope by our character's name once a week by this guy who would show up who looked like he belonged in the cast of The Sopranos with a big full of these envelopes that actually had this weird little bit of paper in it that had our hours listed like it was somehow official that way.
That's right.
Remember?
Yes.
And it was just cash. And that was how we got paid. It was funny. So so that's what we were doing when we were your age. Getting paid.
That's what we were doing when we were your age. Yeah.
Under the table, playing with boys and just having a good time. Oh my gosh. And going to Flamingo Wednesdays was I remember I'd go to this thing called Flamingo Wednesdays. It was at this, like basically a gay club in the East Village at the Flamingo East. It was in East Village.
That sounds fun.
Because I would waitress and bartend certain nights. And so then all of us afterwards would go to Flamingo East and go to this like Flamingo Wednesdays. I just remember going. I thought it was such a fun name.
Yeah, that is a fun name.
Right?
Wednesdays. You love that you're going out on a Wednesday night.
Wednesday, because I could. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm in bed at like 9 o'clock. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock and I still look like a hot mess. That's what how is that? If she was in bed at 9 o'clock, she'd be like glowing. The next day. In the meantime, I'm like, really? Oh my gosh. Well, we want to see all your latest and greatest, coolest things that you're doing soon. I'm excited for, you said Dr. Death. So that's coming.
When I know that's airing, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. We'll have you back so you can talk more about all this really fun stuff.
Yes, I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. Yeah. And, all things beauty and all things fun. And you look gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
With your eyebrows and you look fantastic. So I know.
Thanks to you and my echo brow. Is that what it's called?
Eco brow.
Eco brow.
Eco brow.
Carol ferried in for you from
yes.
Right.
I use with the brush.
I know the brush is clutch.
The brush makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
Yes. If you don't want to look like Groucho, yes.
Right.
The most important part of that brush is the spoolie on the end for sure.
What's that mean?
The little like brush on the end, so you can like brush.
Yeah, but see, I do that and nothing happens. But I just brush it. I'm like, okay, I brushed my eyebrows. What I did today.
So you can get them under control. So those crazy little wild ones go into place.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
So it did serve a purpose.
Assuming there are any eyebrows. I can do a show where you just draw on eyebrows and there are no eyebrows. That'd be
Oh
great.
my God. But you've always had fair eyebrows. So to be
Yes.
fair, they've always
Yes.
been fair. So it's all good. But we would have to go into our box of photos to prove that point.
That's right. My translucent eyebrows.
All right, girl. Well, this has been so much fun. And we loved having you.
Yeah,
and
it's
thank you
so
for
nice
taking
to meet you.
You too.
your day. And go tell Carol you need a good Peloton ride. you know,
Yes, I will. Yes, Carol.
bring you water.
I'm done. I need my lunch now.
Oh, exactly.
My smoothie, please.
Yes, healthy greens smoothie. Greens. Oh no! All right. Well, stay warm out there, and thank you so much. We
Thank
loved
you.
having you, and we will see you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.